Welcome Redwood Valley Middle School to the 2020-2021 school year. We'd like to offer a special welcome to our incoming 5th grade and any new students joining us this year at Redwood Valley Middle School. We're excited to get all of our students back into the building after what was a long spring and summer without our students in the halls. With this year, there are a lot of questions about how the school is responding to the COVID-19 pandemic and what that means for their students in our building. Hopefully this video can answer some of the questions that you have and give you some extra information going into the start of the school year. Our daily schedule has been adjusted a little bit to meet some of the different needs we have for this school year. You'll see with each grade we have built in 2 10-minute breaks to account for better control over bathroom breaks and water breaks that our students will need throughout the day. You'll also see an extended lunch and recess period to help account for the extra time that it will take to safely get through the lunchroom, to safely eat with social distancing measures in the lunchroom, and to offer some extra time for our students to burn off some energy that they may be missing during the day. Our mitigation efforts across the district are extremely intensive to help limit the spread of COVID-19. District-wide, we are following the state-issue mandated mask wearing policy. We are enforcing social distancing as much as possible. We have implemented new cleaning procedures both in between classes and when students are not in the building. And you will see an increased use of district-wide PPE both by staff and students during different parts of the day. Specifically in the middle school, our 5th and 6th grade are going to be traveling in cohorts. What this means is students will be traveling with the same group of students for all of their classes during the day. All grades will be restricted to one pod, so 7th and 8th grade will not be traveling across the building as in years past. We made both of these changes to help limit the number of exposures students experience during the day. Hallway traffic will be limited to one direction, so when students are moving through the building, again, we limit the opportunity for students to cross paths. We also already discussed the bathroom and water breaks that are built into the daily schedule, as well as the adjustments to lunch and recess to provide more time for students. Throughout the year, we will experience 3 different learning models. The first being our in-person learning model. This is the model that 5th and 6th grade will start the 2020-2021 school year in. In this model, all students will be in-person learning, which means all students will be learning in the building. Our daily schedule that we just looked at will be followed. Our classrooms will be arranged and procedures will be implemented to incorporate as much social distancing as possible between students, but we will not be adhering to the strict 6-foot social distancing guidelines in our in-person learning model. All district-wide and middle school specific mitigation efforts will be implemented. Our hybrid learning model is our second model, which is likely the model that will have the most questions to it. In this model, we will be limiting our building and classroom capacity to 50% of the student population. Here, strict 6-foot social distancing guidelines will be implemented, both in classroom arrangements and as students travel throughout the building. In addition to these changes, you will still see all district-wide and middle school specific mitigation efforts being implemented. What will hybrid look like for your student? In our hybrid learning model, 50% of the grade will be in-person learning one day, while the other 50% is at-home learning. Students will be split into A and B groups, A days being in the building for A students, B day being in the building for B students. The daily schedule will be followed by both students for in-person and at-home learning. During this model, you may see some different strategy used by Redwood Valley Middle School staff. A practice-based approach, where students are practicing skills or demonstrating learning from the previous day. A flipped model, where students are completing a task to prepare them for the next day, or completing the same lesson as the students in the classroom, just from a different format. Sometimes teachers may ask your student to log into a live teaching session during their at-home learning to accommodate something special happening in the classroom. To find out what hybrid group your student is assigned to, Access Skyward through student information and you will see their group listed in the advisor slot here. The black arrow is pointing to the area where you should see it. How will attendance be addressed in our hybrid learning model? For our in-person learning students, the same attendance requirements will be followed as our in-person learning requirements. Students will be expected to be in all their assigned classes and attendance will be taken accordingly. For at-home learning requirements, students will be required to connect to each class via Schoology and to complete an attendance task for each class and submit by 3:15 that same day. Some frequently asked questions that come with the hybrid learning model are, when are assignments due for home learning days? Again, by 3:15 p.m. that day. You are expected to be working on lessons during your scheduled class time of that day. Can a student switch between hybrid A or hybrid B? No, these groups are set. Does a student that's at home learning need to report for home base? No, at home learners will not need to report for home base. Home base will only be attended by our in-person learning students. What if my internet isn't working? You will need to contact the Redwood Valley Middle School office or your teachers to notify them of the issue. We will work with you to adjust assignments and deadlines as needed. If internet is an ongoing issue, we will work to local service providers to help with a solution. How does the hybrid learning model look if I have opted out of any in-person learning? These students will be following the same daily schedule as all students and the same hybrid learning requirements. However, all opt-out students will attend live classes on A days and will be at-home learners on B days. The final model we may see is our distance learning model. This model is similar to the model that we experienced last spring with some key changes. We will follow a different schedule, which would be communicated at a later date if and when we were to transition to our distance learning model. In this model, there will be no in-person learning or no students entering the school building. All learning would happen at home and involve live instruction via Zoom or Schoology conference. The first day of school, Tuesday, September 8th, 5th and 6th grade, all students will be attending in person. Some specific information will be coming to students and parents in the weekly newsletter that will be sent out on August 31st. Our 7th and 8th grade will be starting in the hybrid model. On Tuesday, September 8th, hybrid A students will be in the building. Hybrid B students will be at home. Hybrid B students will report to the building the second day of school on Wednesday, September 9th. For Tuesday, September 8th, there will be no learning expectations for hybrid B students. Chromebook distribution will be a little different this year as we are not handing out Chromebooks at back to school night. 5th and 6th grade will receive them on the first day of school, Tuesday, September 8th. For 7th and 8th grade, A students will receive them on Tuesday, September 8th. B students will receive them on Wednesday, September 9th. Chromebooks will be handed out during home-based periods. For our opt-out students, you will be able to get your device on Friday, September 4th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the middle school, high school main doors. District staff will be working to help hand out devices as students arrive. This will be a similar process to our turn-in procedures from last spring. If this time and day does not work for you, please connect with the middle school office to create alternative plans to get your device. For communication throughout the school year, lean on Skyward, our weekly newsletter that is sent out by myself on Mondays, email or phone both to the office and staff members, Schoology, and the district website. We hope this video answers a lot of the questions that you may have, but we understand that with everything happening, there are still going to be questions. Do not hesitate to reach out to myself at 507-644-8206 or at the email listed here, or contact the middle school office at 507-644-8206 or our middle school administrative assistant, Lisa Loftus, at the email listed here. We're excited to get everybody back in the building and we're excited for a fantastic year. Go Cardinals!